In 3, 2, 1. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 21 of the Prehistoric Podcast. I'm Francis Odenijan.
I'm Andrew Sorsdahl.
And I am Bradford Peterson.
How's it going?
It's going really well. Just got off the F-book and shared the concert in the middle of nowhere, which we talked about in the last podcast, but it's finally released. It's out. She's done. Mm-hmm. Everyone gets to see it now.
So, quick over. We did talk about it in the last podcast a little bit, but yeah, I guess.
We went into quite a bit of detail, actually.
I guess if you didn't watch the last podcast, then just a quick overview. A few months ago, we went out to Brock. It's a small town. How far is it out of Rosetown?
About 30 minutes out of Rosetown.
30 minutes out of Rosetown. We went and filmed a full concert there. 3 bands a couple months ago. The woman who runs it, Heather, she asked us to come out and film them. And essentially, we put together a sort of
little TV special.
Yeah, a little TV special of the concert, and a little highlight for her venue over there. So it's airing tomorrow on television. We just shared it on Facebook. So
so you guys want to check that out? It's pretty good.
Yeah, definitely.
The bands are actually really talented.
It's pretty good. It's our first big project that we've done. Our first thing that's been on TV. So it's a pretty big landmark for us. Yeah. So
I think. Just to tie it into kind of last podcast, we were talking about the importance of supporting local, well, not even local, but supporting Saskatchewan talent.
And these guys are all talented. The thing is,
all Saskatchewan talent, all
we
amazing.
We as an organization, I believe, are not going to just plug somebody because they're from Saskatchewan.
No.
I'll plug somebody who's good
from Saskatchewan.
And we have been very lucky in that objectively a lot of the artists we've worked with so far have all been talented.
Yeah. Well, one thing I've noticed about it, like you said, it might just be luck, but maybe there's something else there. Everyone we've worked with thus far since I came back from Vancouver, they've all been cool people, and they've all done cool stuff. Like League of Wolves, love their music. They're all cool guys. Heather was awesome. All 3 of the bands that were there.
Both Heathers.
The Barrel, both Heather. Prairie Sun, Heather, who runs Prairie Sun. Prairie Sun's awesome. Those guys are awesome. And then the 3 bands we met there, Barrelman, Midnight Roses, and their house band, they were all awesome. And we're working with Blue Mules now. And
Blue Mules are a very talented blues band out of Saskatoon.
And those guys are awesome. And
we've just had a lot of really good string of good luck with meeting people.
So, I mean, we swear to God, we're not just plugging these people for the sake of plugging them. They're actually awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds
definitely give them a watch.
You're having sex with them, but maybe you are because you're
plugging these people for the sake of plugging them.
I think that would make sense because Francois is an alcoholic and
a degenerate.
Absolute degenerate. So I see you've got a little white list there, a little black book of women you've slept with that you didn't know their names. What do you got on there for us?
How would he make a list? I guess he could just use
things you remembered about them.
Long
blonde, short.
I usually
put star ratings beside them too.
I usually put height, hair color. But I usually don't use blonde. I say blondie, or I'll say brunette. But that's just me personally. But star ratings. It's a scale from 1 to 5. Just my own personal little system. Actually, I've never had lower than a 3.
He has camera equipment, so watch out, ladies. That's all I have to say.
Like they said, I am an absolute degenerate. But no, I swear to God, this is not a list.
Okay, what is it? Tell us what's on there.
This is a list of topics. Last time we went on a tangent. Well, it was good. We talked about serious, but I thought I tried to make kind of a diverse list here. So I have some stuff that's going on in the news right now in the world. I have some video game stuff. I have some TV stuff. I don't know. So what do you guys want to talk about? TV, world news, video games.
Let's talk about. I just because I peeked over there and below the very long list of females that you've had intercourse with. I noticed the topic of Daredevil, which I have been just thoroughly enjoying. It's a Netflix original, which is another awesome thing that Netflix has done. Hit another series right out of the park. And I just think that they could do no wrong as far as I can tell. They just did it so much justice.
Yeah, I gotta say, it's like with that character specifically, the only taste that we've had in mass media in the market of Daredevil really that the multitude.
Yeah, I think we got it.
The masses have had of Daredevil is the 2003 Ben Affleck film that came out. That was essentially critically panned
Yeah.
So we're not talking about Boston Man, which is a feature film coming out later.
That's coming out. No, 2016.
This is
Boston
Daredevil?
Man versus Superman is coming out later in 2016. We're not talking about Boston Man. This is a different Ben Affleck film. Came out in 2003. There's more than one Ben Affleck film. Believe it or not, Boston Man is that's coming out next year. Is not Ben Affleck's only film. He's actually been in several films.
Where he has played a man from Boston.
Where he's
That's
played
Bostonian.
men from Boston.
Was the guy from Argo from Boston? I believe so.
No, he was,
No, Canadian.
yeah, no. He wasn't Canadian. He was
Oh, he
American.
was
But no, he
Canadian.
wasn't from Boston.
We don't know that. We have no idea that he was.
Ben Affleck can only play people from
There is
Boston.
there is a very good chance that on the character description list that never gets put into the movie, it doesn't really matter, that the original writer came up with, that he was a Bostonian.
Bostonian.
Bostonian?
Bostonian.
Bostonian.
Born
So
Bostonian.
the only taste we've had of Daredevil
Is that movie?
is the 2003 Daredevil film that starred Ben Affleck, and I've got to say personally I enjoy the film. It came out at the same time as Spider-Man and X-Men and those the early early Millennium superhero films. Personally, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed Ben Affleck's portrayal of Daredevil. I really enjoyed Colin Farrell as Bullseye. I thought that was fantastic. Michael Clark Duncan as the Kingpin was phenomenal. There's a lot of good stuff in that movie. There's just one scene specifically in which Daredevil, Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner fight in a playground, and it's just ridiculous and really weird, and it doesn't really fit. And to me, it's the one scene in the whole movie that could have been taken out. Also, there's some cheesy soundtrack
So
moments.
who is he fighting?
Yeah.
Jennifer Garner plays Elektra in the 2003 movie, and
Jennifer Gardner, did she take nude photos of herself?
no, that was Jennifer Lawrence.
Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence was the spearhead of the Fappening, which happened recently. That was a big thing in the media, a huge global event that occurred. But anyways, no.
An event that really showed that we're all degenerates at heart.
Yeah, it showed us the world was divided. There were degenerates and there were non-degenerates, and I definitely fell into the former category, I think. But anyways, back to Daredevil. So me personally, I didn't like the film. It was pretty critically panned. A lot of people said it was just average. A lot of people hated it outright. So the character has essentially kind of fallen back into comic book lore. It's like if you don't really read comic books, if you don't follow comic books, then you wouldn't really. There's nothing that the character would you wouldn't see the character anywhere.
No,
So
it was, I think they did a nice balance of appealing to the fans.
oh no, for sure. I'm just saying it's like nobody.
Has done anything with
I was
it.
just saying it's like nobody was cared unless you read comic books. Nobody was like, oh, we need a Daredevil movie. Whereas Spider-Man is so infused, like Spider-Man, for example, is so infused in our market that it's like everybody knows who Spider-Man is, and everybody has an intimate knowledge of Spider-Man. That's not just because of the movies. It's just he's everywhere. He's marketed. Whereas Daredevil's not really that way. So, anyways, Marvel, they can do no wrong. They, like we were talking about the other day, their cinematic universe is up and running, and it's beautiful and it's amazing, and it's all so cohesive and it just works. And so they started making the delve into television, and thus far, I gotta say, it hasn't been quite successful. Like the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show, a lot of people watched it at the beginning, but then the writing fell off for the first half season. Apparently, it's gotten a lot better, but they lost a big portion of their audience just because the writing essentially at the beginning was kind of subpar.
Mm-hmm.
Then they had their Agent Carter television show. I watched the first few episodes. It's actually a really good TV show. But I think we were talking before, it's like the big problem these two shows had, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter, is that who gives a fuck about Agent Carter and
Carter, that's usually an African American last name.
Coach Carter, Samuel L. Jackson.
Was this guy African American?
No, this is a woman.
Was this woman African
No,
American?
she's not an African
Caucasian?
American. Yes, she's Caucasian. It's set during the 40s or 50s.
So there were no African Americans pre.
In the Captain America movie, the first one, his girlfriend Peggy Carter, the brunette. You remember it all?
The one who's the old lady who's just like, oh.
Oh yeah, she's young. That's her. That's what the show is about. So, anyways, these two shows, like we said.
Is it post Captain America falling in the water?
Yes, it's post that. It's about what's happening. Essentially, it's about the
What's
beginning,
happening
about
after.
what's the beginning of Shield and like how Shield got set up and stuff. So once again, it's like the big problem is when you watch a show about superheroes, you want to see superheroes. So it's like with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Peggy and Agent Carter, it's like you're not seeing superheroes, so it's like nobody really gives a fuck. But Marvel hits it out of the park. They listen to their audience, and they hit it with one of their biggest characters, Daredevil, and they partnered with Netflix. So they didn't have to follow all the TV show rules. They didn't they could go ultra violent with it. They could swear. They could just focus on making a good television show instead of trying to cater to mass market. And Netflix is so great for just making awesome content. I would say it's like HBO and Netflix are just right up there with each other in terms of similar content that has similar budgets and the writing is on par with each other. And yeah, so they released 13 episodes at once, like Netflix does. So you can binge watch, and it was written. It really is. People have stated this. It really feels like one 13-hour long movie, rather than a show where it's like most television shows. They have to remind you what happened last episode, and then you get the brunt of the episode, and then at the end, it's like, oh, now they have to set up a cliffhanger, so you come back the next week. Daredevil didn't have that. It was every episode was constructed from beginning to end. Didn't have those cliffhangers. It didn't have that cheesy stuff. It was one solid story from beginning to end.
Like they don't meet in the office every morning over coffee.
Yeah, it's like they don't need to do. It doesn't have every episode isn't the same.
Well, part of that I think is because, and I think that's a common thing that Netflix does with all of their original stuff, because they release every episode at once. So as a result, they can tell the story a lot differently because they know that you have the capability to watch them either, as I hate it, but I fucking hate the term binge watch. I fucking hate it. It's stupid.
Why?
Because it's just dumb. I don't know. I just don't.
We binge drank. So let's binge watch.
But you don't say let's go binge drinking tonight.
I do.
Yes, Francois says that every night.
Yeah.
Who is the we?
Who is the we?
Here? The royal fucking we that you're talking about all the time. You are a guy, and I barely know who you are. But all of a sudden, we're a we. I love binge. We're binge.
Well, that's the vernacular. That's a common vernacular.
I just don't like it.
And I agree. Binging sounds gluttonous, and it sounds very
that's what's happening.
It sounds very.
But it is that.
That's what it is. So I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it is.
Blah 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 blah.
It is just people sitting down on their couches, getting unhealthier and not leaving the television for hours and hours on an end. But anyways, I have to say, watch the whole series. Charlie Cox was probably the thing I was most skeptical about going in, because the only other thing I'd seen him in was Stardust. My little sister's a big fan of that movie. I personally am not a fan of that movie. But that's the only thing I'd seen him in. He's a good actor, but he never seemed to have like the superhero thing. Like he didn't like superheroes have to, like Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth, they look like Greek gods. So it's like, oh, superheroes, it's easy to buy that. Whereas Charlie Cox is a little bit less so. But anyways,
you're ugly, Charlie Cox.
You're ugly. But no, I gotta say, he was an incredibly convincing blind person. Like, very, 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 very good performance. His accent, you can tell that he's not American. Like, you can tell that but it's a very unique. It's very well done. I like his voice. His I'm not sure what the actor's name is, but his partner, he was probably. You can tell the actor who portrayed his partner, Foggy Nelson. You can tell that he hasn't been anything for a long time, and it's like he's rusty. He's rusty at acting, and it's like you can tell, but it's like I like him. He's charming, and he got better as the season went on. Like at the beginning, he was kind of but then he got better, and it's like you can tell if there's a second season, he's just gonna get better, and like I like him. But me and Andrew were talking about this a little while ago. The guy who stole the show,
yes, Vincent
D'Onofrio, who plays Kingpin.
He actually his role before that was on Law and Order.
Yes,
he played
Dun Dun.
That's where everybody knows him from.
Yeah, I can't
remember. And if anybody here, if you don't know about Law and Order, it was a television show that went on forever, and it was on every channel all the time. And we stole
to this day.
And we stole the introduction noise for a short film that we did 2 years ago.
Blatant copyright infringement.
Yes.
For what?
Very Prehistoric Christmas.
Oh, you're right.
5 a.m. or 7 a.m.
We
were talking about drugs
and alcohol, drugs and alcohol.
If you have no idea what we're talking about, go onto our YouTube channel, go back and watch. Watch everything. But I mean, our first short film that we ever did was called Very Prehistoric Christmas. It's not a good time. I'm not going to say it's a good time. I'm going to say there are excellent things in it. It needs to go back to the cutting room floor and probably shave off a good, I want to say 6 minutes maybe of just like, just dead air. Dead air and just like, I don't know. I'm getting better with timing. I've got real problems with timing. I like to extend things for long periods of time. I don't know. I've just got a personal knack. I'm getting better. I'm developing as a creative person. But anyways, yes, go back and watch A Very Prehistoric Christmas. You can see our humble beginnings, and we're gonna get better. But me and Brad played two characters in that who were obsessed with drugs and alcohol, essentially. That's pretty funny. I think it's pretty funny.
It was a good show.
I have mostly not been listening to a word you guys have said because I've been looking at this Reddit thread that I saved. So someone asked Reddit what movie helped you through a rough time, and it just turned into a bunch of people saying Paul Blart Mall Cop over and over again. So it's like it's just a giant circle jerk, but it's really funny because they forgot to put like a serious tag on it. So it just became, so for example, I was in Ecuador having a rough time until I saw Paul Blart Guardia de Seguridad del Centro Comercial. And then, what's the other one? Person list, they list movies. Like Pulp Fiction, Apocalypse Now, all the first letters spell Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Really?
Yeah. A friend had me watch Swingers after a breakup. Didn't work, but Paul Blart Mall Cop did. I was at my lowest point in a failed relationship and loss of my business. I watched Paul Blart Mall Cop and then started picking up the pieces. Thanks to that movie, I was able to rebuild. Will recommend. I saw Paul Blart Mall Cop after my grandpa died back in December, and just being able to laugh really helped me. And then Mall Paul Cop Blart, Blart Cop Mall Paul Mall, Car Pal Bat Lol Mop, Blart Cop. Blart, 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 blart. Blart addict, cough ball match. Don't blart ball inside me. Inside. I'm currently going through a tough time. Can't wait for Paul Blart 2.
It's coming out. That's a real thing.
I
hate you.
The film that
I hate you, Kevin James. And it will never be okay what you did. It will never be okay.
I watched Paul Blart after I got the sickening post-ejaculation feeling. Was erect in seconds. 11 out of 10.
Oh my God.
A while back, I was in a dark place. I'd been depressed for a long time, and my life was spiraling out of control. I was unemployed, spending all my time alone. Only social interaction I had was spending Sunday evenings at my parents' house. My parents, my sister, her son, and I would eat dinner and watch The Incredibles, my nephew's favorite movie. Looking back those Sundays with you, thank you, my head above water. Even so, got to the point where I just wanted to end it. I was eating what I had planned to be my last meal with the TV on in the background when I heard something familiar. The Incredibles had just randomly come on. I got slammed with memories of Sunday nights. I freaked out and changed the channel, and what comes on but Paul Blart Mall Cop. Kevin James gave me a reason to live. Also, I bought a Segway. It's like there's so many all these you think it's gonna be this heartfelt thing, but Paul Blart Mall Cop, that's what really saved me. And it's just like a giant circle jerk.
I'd love. No, I hate it. I hate you. I hate you, Kevin James. You will never be forgiven for what you've done.
I was gonna say,
Is it worse than Terry?
No. At least some of the slapstick is remotely funny.
Yeah, okay.
At least there are specific.
And Kevin Smith is heavy. That's what everyone wants.
Kevin Smith is heavy.
That's what they
Kevin
all the
James.
jokes.
Kevin James, sorry.
is also heavy.
Kevin James is that's all the jokes. It's like, oh, he's fat. Let's make him fall down a bunch. Every movie he's in.
Whoop! He falls.
He loves it. He
Grown-ups
just loves.
Also,
He loves being.
He used to be a fairly good stand-up comedian, apparently.
Oh yeah, he was very talented, and then they're like,
And then
And then he
We have
sold
you-
his weight to Hollywood, and now that's it. That's all he is. He's just a sack.
he probably
that
got
Hollywood
$100,000 a pound, but is it worth it?
uses. Is it worth selling your soul to the devil's gluttony?
But Terry,
is actually the worst. It's about a fat kid in pajamas at the beginning who goes through all these experiences that should change him, and then at the end of the movie, he remains a fat kid in pajamas.
okay, have you seen Jeff Who Lives at Home yet?
No, I'm downloading it.
Very fucking good movie.
I have seen it. I remember watching it, and I guess I might have not really been paying attention, so I've just put it on because it was on Netflix, and I remember watching it on Netflix. But I'll watch it again because you guys are very adamant about it. It's goodness.
Very good movie.
So I'll definitely watch it again. So we went on bit of a
We're
ride
getting
there.
tangential.
So anyways, I just want to go back to
Daredevil.
Yes, Daredevil. So me and Andrew agreed that the guy who stole the show, Vincent D'Onofrio, played the Kingpin, and classically in the comic books, the Kingpin was never really personified or characterized too much. He was also always an astute businessman that everybody feared, and that's kind of what his character amounted to.
Fucking
They
evil.
had evil. I wouldn't say is the word. He's nuts, very very opportunistic, and willing to do things that a lot of that the general populace would consider morally reprehensible to achieve his goals. But a lot of his goals are actually like, it's like Ozymandias in Watchmen. It's like he's gonna kill millions to save billions. That kind of a mindset.
Except through like at least Ozymandias in Watchmen wasn't going through super criminal channels that themselves harmed a lot of people.
Yeah.
With the Kingpin, he is committing crime.
Oh yeah, he's trying to control crime essentially, so that it's
because he's in charge of all the crime. It's going to be better.
Yeah,
That's his
there's
thing.
what's that other? Oh, never mind. That's so stupid. Red Hood in DC Universe is very similar. He's trying to control organized crime so that at least he's controlling it, so that it's not just rampant. But anyways, so Vincent D'Onofrio in the show, they heavily characterized the Kingpin. They gave him this amazing backstory and this character arc that's just beautiful.
And they humanized him.
And they really, really humanized him. They made him awkward around women. They gave him all these like character quirks that just weren't ever evident in the comic books. And they just made him. They essentially took a comic book character that was, I wouldn't say throwaway, a very iconic character,
Just
but
flat.
but like
Just
kind of
flat.
just kind of a sort of a one-dimensional character. I mean, occasionally you would see hints of his other side because Vanessa, who's his wife in the show, that's his wife in the comic books, and very occasionally do you see that other side of the Kingpin in the comic books, because when his wife is brought up, he's always a lot more emotionally vulnerable, but you don't see it very often. So anyways, in the show, they decided to really go with that, and they showed his absolutely and they made it absolutely batshit crazy too. Like he's totally batshit crazy, but he has this other side to him, and they made him just a really fascinating, interesting character. And Vincent D'Onofrio did an excellent job. Like the voice he put on, the way he portrayed him, his mannerisms, everything was just really spot on. It like it was just fascinating to watch, and just made the show that much better. And I would go so far to say as it's probably Marvel's best villain to date. I mean, I think Loki has been up to this point Marvel's best villain, or in the cinematic universe. I mean, has been the best villain. But I think that Vincent D'Onofrio, honestly, is a more interesting, intriguing character, and just he's more well written.
Yeah, like the thing is, Loki has limitations when you're an otherworldly being.
He's just, at the end of the day, he ends up playing like a Shakespearean villain. It's like his motivation doesn't really make sense. It's like you get it, but you can't really get it because like I'm not an Asgardian prince, so I don't really get
And then like
what it's like.
his whole appeal is like the really suave, intellectual, so calm, and then when his emotions take over, it's like this drastic turnaround, and that's what made Loki so interesting. But with other,
For me, what gets lost with Thor and Loki is that they're gods. It's like why in the fuck are they? Shouldn't, like, if they're a god, shouldn't they just be able to go like this and then everything turns to puppies or something? Like they're
not.
They're super. Like
They're not all powerful like
they're
gods.
Is that not the definition of a god?
Well, no, more so in the Marvel universe, they're not. We call them gods. They're an alien species that live. They're very long lived. They live for thousands of years, but they are just an alien species that look like us. And then essentially it's like Superman, but they came down to Earth during medieval times, during Norse, when like Vikings were a thing, and they came down and protected us from the frost giants who had tried to invade Earth at that time. And then we as a species hailed them as these gods because they had control over these elemental forces.
Okay,
so then
I just didn't know enough about the universe.
Gotcha. So we placed that upon them. They're not actually gods.
I retract my criticism.
But no, it's good. And the other great thing about Daredevil is the fight sequences in it are bloody phenomenal. In episode 2 specifically, there's this fight in a hallway that is not ripped directly from Old Boy, but it's inspired. If you've ever seen Old Boy, There's this one really famous fight scene in that movie where it's done in one take, and it's just this huge, long, excellently choreographed fight, and it's beautiful, stunning to watch.
So good.
And essentially, they did the same sort of thing in the second episode of Daredevil, and it's beautiful to watch, and the violence is the show is just fantastic.
You can just see where that budget went.
Yeah,
into the fight scenes, they're just choreographed so spectacularly.
The show, yeah, like you said, the fights are choreographed incredibly well. The writing is awesome. The acting is top notch. Marvel hit it out of the park. 10 out of 10. I think it's their first really successful foray into television, and I really hope that it continues on with the other, because I know they have a bunch of other shows planned. They have a Luke Cage show and a Iron Fist and a Jessica Jones and a Defenders show. So I mean, I hope all those shows continue this trend of excellence. Or it's not a trend yet, but I hope there is a trend of excellence. So yeah, that's our spiel about Daredevil. Definitely go watch it. Bloody fantastic. Yeah. So how about we hit world news next?
What specifically?
So it seems like it's the end times. Shit's going down. The world is pissed
Kraft
off.
dinner is changing.
Gaia, well, that. But
Earthquake in Nepal.
there's an earthquake in Nepal, and there's a volcano that erupted in Chile. That's pretty cool.
They've they photographed for the first time the magma underneath Yellowstone Park.
Oh, wow.
The magma pocket. It's like a mile long or something like that. Pocket of magma.
I know they said if Yellowstone ever erupted, it would destroy the planet. It would cover the planet in a thick soot that would block out the sun, and we would all die. Because Yellowstone is the biggest volcano in the world, isn't it?
I believe so.
I thought Vesuvius was.
No, those the thing is Yellowstone, it stretches on for miles and miles and miles, and it's it's very gradually. Yeah, it's But I remember reading that it's if Yellowstone ever erupted, it would just kill us all. But no, previously, because I guess speaking about earthquakes, there's this amazing documentary I saw a couple of years ago about Krakatoa, and that explosion happened. It was one of the coolest.
Sorry, hold on. Give me 1 second. I feel like in a scenario where some super natural disaster like that comes, that we as a global community could stop it. We're getting to a point where we could control Mother Nature.
No.
Hurricane Katrina would just shit on your little idea there. Happened, and
the volcano thing is
or earthquakes.
If you could, I don't know. It would really have to be something that is you could unify the planet, but it's just how.
The other thing is we already
but Hurricane Katrina is so small in comparison to destroying the entire planet.
No, I'm saying, but America is that's what I'm looking for. It's a superpower. It's a rich nation. It's one of the leading, most powerful nations in the world. Katrina happens to them, they can't deal with it at all.
The difference between
they still
Katrina
aren't
and
dealing with it.
you can't stop wind. That's just fucking impossible.
How do you stop a volcano?
I don't know. Put stuff on top of it.
I don't know. I feel like volcanoes are fucking.
The other thing is we know earthquakes can cause volcanic eruptions. We also now know that fracking causes earthquakes. So, we also know that in the United States they have not put a ban on fracking. Study came out, earthquakes can be caused by fracking, and then I can't remember which state it was, but they subsequently put a ban
on fracking.
They put a ban on banning fracking. So you can't put a motion forward to ban fracking. I know it's a double negative, but
it doesn't even make sense.
You want to switch things over?
Yeah. So let's just pause on that for 1 second. And we're back. Volcanoes. So anyways, I was saying that saw a documentary about Krakatoa, and it was phenomenal. And essentially, in recorded history, it's the loudest sound ever. It's the loudest sound ever recorded in recorded history. And they were saying that when the volcano exploded, the sound of it could be heard on every single part of the planet. There wasn't a single place on the whole planet that you didn't hear the explosion. I was like, that's phenomenal. Anyways, after seeing that documentary, volcanoes have always fascinated me because it's just this raw, destructive force. It spews fire. It's so
it's very
fantastical. And yeah, they're very cool and just powerful. I don't know.
I would just take a Glock and fuck the volcano right up.
Just shoot at it.
Then just the next day headlines: Brad Peterson saves the world. Shoots volcano dead.
I'm just saying, if we take every plane on the world and haul ice at it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying maybe it's out of the realm.
Maybe
of
it's like
possibility.
Minecraft. You just need like a bucket of water and you pour that and it just turns the lava into stone.
Yeah,
I'm saying, what if every plane in the world packs full of ice and we fly them into the volcano?
Then you'd have a lot of planes that get destroyed.
I was gonna say, I feel like the infrastructure that you would destroy with the planes, like we wouldn't have
And you could,
planes
like,
anymore.
you
So
wouldn't
that
No,
it's
no,
like
I don't
transport-
fly the
you
plane,
would-
I
you-
fly the ice in. Like the planes don't even
they would
work.
drop ice, just drop ice.
That would do nothing.
I don't. I need a better proposition. Like I don't.
The ice would
I like where your
evaporate.
head's at. I like that you're trying to save the human race, but I need a written proposition that's at least 600 pages long that I can review, and I need a detailed plan.
The ice would just evaporate before it even touched the magma.
Yeah, but eventually there would be such a cloud of moisture in the air that it would stop the water from evaporating. Like eventually ice will be magma if you have enough of it.
You just keep shoving ice.
Liquid nitrogen, maybe?
No, I'm gonna say if you do war with volcano probably win every time. Like
But we've got so many things.
yes, but I mean once again, it's like you look at any natural disaster ever. It's like we're just blissfully unprepared for anything. It's like when you look at asteroids and you ask NASA, it's like, oh, if an asteroid was headed towards us, what would we do? It'd be like nothing. We would die. There's nothing we could do. It's like we could launch every nuke and it wouldn't touch the thing. It's like maybe it was a very small asteroid. But it's like if we had anything, it's like if we had an asteroid that was coming at us that was like the size of the one that killed the dinosaurs, just dead. We're just all dead. That's
But
it.
like we could blow the moon up, and they can't be much bigger than the moon, can they?
We can't blow the moon up. We could launch every single nuclear missile we had, and we wouldn't blow the moon up.
We can blow the Earth up, and the Earth's bigger than the moon.
We can blow it up.
The Soviet Union at the end of the Cold War had enough power.
No, you can torch the surface so that nothing
can't
can live on the
actually
surface. You
blow
can't
the
blow the Earth.
Yeah,
up.
they had enough power to blow the entire Earth up.
How
no,
would they even
that's
ever
not. I was
calculate
gonna say no.
That's
That I
impossible.
don't. That's not physically possible. Like,
They just discovered a new layer of the Earth recently.
as I say, I don't
Yeah, but we
think
know
that's
the
true at all.
size of the planet.
No, I know, but I don't think that with all the explosive power we have, you could not
Blow up the
alder on the Earth. No way.
Like there is an incredible amount of explosive power.
No, I know, but you cannot. No crater that's been made by any atomic bomb went even a fraction of a % of the way
Yeah, but
into the Earth's crust.
The last time an atomic bomb was launched, they were like
No, the
nothing.
biggest one ever was I mean, like compared to now, yeah, they're huge. But I mean, the last one that was launched was 50 megatons. It's a big bomb.
Yeah, but that's
in the 70s.
A 50 megaton bomb now, like in the U.S. arsenal, is like a child's.
No, but I'm saying that even if we had 1,000 megaton bomb, that would still and I don't think they're that big.
Barely.
Look up world's.
It would
biggest
still a fraction of the Earth's surface. The Earth is fucking massive.
Yeah, but explosions are also very.
Yeah, but on the Earth scale, no, not at all. It's like Tsar Bomba. I know that they said, like I said, I know we could torch the surface of the Earth, no problem. But I mean, and they said 100 megatons is all you need to torch the atmosphere and kill us all. Because I remember they were saying with Tsar Bomba, which is the biggest nuke ever detonated. They're saying that they wanted
the Tsar bomb.
they
What's the
wanted
biggest one ever built?
they want it to be 100. They wanted it to be 100 megatons, but the guy who built Tsar Bomba was like 100 megatons. He had figured that could feasibly destroy the planet. So he, without telling anybody, made it 50 megatons, and that's the biggest explosion we've ever had. No, I do not think in 1,000 years we could alter on the planet. No, you could not destroy the.
I disagree. And I think we can at least blow the moon up.
50 megaton, yeah, is the biggest one.
No, that's not true. That's
I mean, the
think about
nuclear
every
missiles
single-
today have to be bigger. I mean, we have to have
Also known as the Tsar bomb.
the largest one detonated. But what's the
was
largest
the
one we
biggest
just
and most
had
powerful thermonuclear bomb ever made.
ever
It
made?
was it was exploded on the Soviet Union. The rest never see.
Okay, well that we know of. Like the
Has
Americans
airdropped,
probably have 1,000 megaton bombs.
So as I was saying, and the crater left by Tsar Bomba wasn't even, you almost couldn't even consider it a fraction of a percentage of the Earth's crust, which is nothing in the Earth scale. So, no. You could, I think what they say, 5% of the nukes on the planet could roast the entire surface, if just 5%. or it's like 1%. It's like almost none of
Then you're
the
getting
gross whole
then you're
planet.
getting all fallout up in this bitch.
Yeah. So yes, we could fuck the surface up. We could probably.
Okay, the moon we could go and tunnel to the middle and then blow it up from the inside.
No, but why would being on the inside? Like, what would detonating nukes in the inside? You would just detonate little chunks in the inside.
No, because when you pressurize something like that, the amount of explosion on the inside would fucking explode.
I'm not basing
Mythbusters.
this on any sort of scientific fact, but I do think if you burrowed a hole into the middle of the moon and literally put every single nuke we have in there and blew it up, it would still not blow the moon up.
I don't know.
They're so big.
But like,
It's not like a rock that you're just trying to blow up.
no, I understand the difference. But
He's so dumb to flap that.
if you set a firecracker,
Well, he like
if
maybe
you set
maybe
a firecracker
you
on the outside of an apple and light it, it will blow a chunk off the apple.
a firecracker compared to an apple is nothing.
No, I'm saying in
A
purely from
nuke compared
physics.
to the moon.
I'm
Yeah,
saying
but-
purely from a physical standpoint.
Yeah, but comparing an apple, apple is organic material.
No, I don't
No.
care. I'm just saying, if you set a
Not pure
firecracker on the
rock.
outside of an apple and light it off, it will blow a chunk off the side of the apple. If you put it in the
No.
middle of the apple, it will blow the fuck.
It'll do more damage. No, I get what you're saying there.
Yes, I
I understand
understand
that. It's like yes, if you put it in the center, it'll do more damage.
I also don't know how
I don't
air
disagree.
pressure would affect
I
because
don't-
there's
I don't-
no atmosphere.
I don't
to hold
disagree
the
with you.
pressure in.
I also don't think the explosion would work without an air.
I don't. Well, they have exploded shit on the moon. I know that because they wanted to see what would happen. So I know they have exploded shit. And I mean, it's like a gun. There was all that myth that it's like you couldn't fire a gun in space, but you can because the air is trapped. Because they said there's no air in space, and you need air as a catalyst, but the air is trapped inside the actual round, so you can fire a gun in space. So I mean,
In space, nobody gives a fuck.
it's true.
I think we should.
So I gotta say,
think we should
on the
just laugh at
spectrum,
Brad.
I gotta say, it's this is a political spectrum that I am on the left side of, and you are definitely far on the right side of. I would say, I believe in reason, and you believe in conjecture, but yeah, sure. Maybe we could all draw on planet Earth if we detonated every single nuke.
Yeah.
Who knows? I won't know. We'll never know unless we detonate every single nuke.
Mythbusters.
Mythbusters detonate
Get
every
on it.
nuke.
Get on that shit, Mythbusters.
But yeah, like we were talking about before. Okay, so we talked about. So, anyways, we were talking about volcanoes. So, a volcano erupted in Chile recently, just outside of a small community. That city,
It
I
doesn't
think actually. The volcano, I think, was something like 10 miles out. They had an evacuation. They got everybody evacuated. So, thus far, there's been no. I haven't checked up on it in like 2 days, but from what I know, there's been no reported deaths. But it's beautiful. A lot of photographers and cinematographers are flocking down there to get these really awesome shots of volcanoes. So there's a lot of really cool volcano footage on the internet if you want to go check that out.
Oh my God, Heather. When she posted her thing, she read ours. She's like, "Mine's shit. I should have tagged everyone. I'm a loser." No, Heather, you're not a loser.
No.
It's fine. Just because you don't have as thorough understanding of Facebook as we do.
It's all good.
I mean, we use it at such a frequency that it becomes very second nature to us.
Yeah, our generation is obsessed.
No, I mean
with-
even just us in general, like running a page and like understanding how promoting things works and
That's true.
tagging people and.
I mean, I'm still bad with that stuff because I largely I don't. I'm on Facebook a lot, but I don't actively contribute to Facebook a lot. I'm a Facebook lurker.
And when you are on Facebook, you like to use beautiful mug.
I like the word mug.
Yeah, I look back at your post. It was like every other post was like
About his
a
beautiful
beautiful,
mug.
like something about beautiful mugs or a beautiful mug.
One-
It's just funny.
I'm a one-trick metric pony. What can I say? So there was an earthquake in Nepal. There's another huge. You were telling me about that. What, a 7.3 on the Richter scale?
7.8.
7.8 on the Richter scale. So that's a fucking.
Death toll just keeps climbing.
That is a fucking earthquake. So yeah, I don't know. Thoughts go out, I guess, to people in Nepal. Keep on trucking.
Keep on keeping on.
Keep
Don't
on
stop
keeping on.
believing.
Don't stop believing.
Grass looks greener on the other side.
We hope things get better. I mean, I don't really know what state Haiti's in right now, but I think they're coming back a little bit, maybe a little bit.
Here we
Yeah,
go,
really.
Haiti.
Not at all.
Here we go.
I don't know.
I think it was pretty hard to tell, like after the earthquake had happened.
So don't use Haiti as a Japan, Fukushima. There you go.
Yeah, because that's
That
There's a lot of really bad fruit at Fukushima.
lots of really
Ukraine,
lots of
Chernobyl.
radiation.
Look at how they're doing now.
They're looking
Right?
up, kind of.
Completely abandoned.
There's mutated wolves that are like 3 times the size of normal wolves having mutated babies, and that's a whole
Scary.
documentary about it.
Yeah,
it's
it's scary.
terrifying. It's terrifying.
Soon they'll take over all
I
of
was
Russia.
gonna say there's shit happening in the Chernobyl site that is fucked. Earthquakes are fucked. I don't know what to say to you. I'm very sorry that the Earth decided to. And why Nepal, Earth? Like, come on. There's so many other places that you could fuck up.
I don't think Mother Earth has a conscience.
From what you know, you liberal. Wait, no, you'd be a.
I'm gonna be
You'd be a
professional.
conservative.
Someone's
Conservative.
called me like 3 times.
Anyway, so continuing on, what kind of time we got left, Ron?
20 minutes.
Okay, what do you got left on there?
Hey, so we talked. Oh, I kind of want to talk about this because this is a big deal to me. So, as I've stated 1,000 times now, and I keep beating a dead horse. Big fan of horror, and big fan of horror video games. And if you watch any of our content, we've been making Brad play scary video games in his own Brad Plays series.
Yeah.
And one game that we talked about, I think on a podcast or something, we talked about a game called PT, which was a playable trailer for the game teaser for the game Silent Hills, and it was only on PlayStation 4. So we kept talking about maybe getting Brad to play it because it's super scary. Anyways, the game Silent Hills that it was the teaser for has officially been canceled because Hideo Kojima is having some
Creative differences.
shits going on. What's his company again? Can't remember what his company is called, but they are having creative differences. And Guillermo del Toro, I think he was a collaborator. I think he was writing it. He's come out and officially stated that they're no longer collaborating. It's no longer happening, which makes me really sad because from the demo that I played, it was the most terrifying thing I've ever played.
Oh, so scary.
B, the graphics were incredible, and it looked just like the best kind of horrible experience. I was very excited.
I'm looking forward to Brad playing Slender. I think that would be terrifying. We won't talk about the gameplay because I want it to be a surprise for.
So
I don't even know anything really about Slender. I just told Sam's
you know
brother
what?
that I could beat
You
him
know
with a
what would
fire
be really
sword.
good here? I will look up some stuff. You guys talk. I'm gonna look up some stuff.
I told
on Slender
Sam's
Man.
brother that I could beat Slender with a fire sword.
the most terrifying. So anyways, so the next game that Brad's playing in Brad Play series is called Slender, and I gotta say the Slender Man is of personal significance to me because when I was in I think the phenomenon came out when I was in grade 9 or grade 10, and it literally caused me to not sleep for about 2
I don't
weeks.
get it. What
I'm
is
absolutely
Slender Man?
terrified.
I have all the things we might need right here. Slender Man is an alleged paranormal figure purported to have been in existence for centuries, covering a large geographic area. Believers in the Slender Man tie his appearance in with many other legends around the world, including Fear DUBH or the Dark Man in Scotland, the Dutch. So like all the basically Slender Man is supposed to be the representative of all the like boogeyman sort of myths around the world. The Slender Man is a being, male in appearance, who looks like a man with extremely long, slender arms and legs.
So he's weak. I could kick him.
No. He also appears to have 4 to 8 long black tentacles that protrude from his back, though different photographs and enthusiasts disagree on this fact, and therefore it is theorized he can contract these tentacles at will. He is described as wearing a black suit, strikingly similar to the visage of the notorious Men in Black, and as the name suggests, appears very thin and able to stretch his limbs and torso to inhuman lengths. He is also able to create tendrils from his fingers, and whether he absorbs, kills, or merely takes his victims to an undisclosed location or dimension is also unknown, as there are never any bodies or evidence left behind in his wake to deduce a definite conclusion. His face is pale and slightly ghostly, and almost appears to have been wrapped in a type of gauze or cloth. His facial features are also an object of debate, and many people believe that his face looks different to each person if it is seen at all. And there are so many scary
So-
pictures here. Holy
So the way this began, the way the whole Slender thing began, was this website which is famous for creepypasta. It's essentially kind of like a thread site for creepy things. They had a contest
I'll look them up.
where they said make up a new
myth.
creature,
Yeah,
essentially.
creature and myth.
So one guy, he photoshopped a bunch of pictures, and that's one of them. He photoshopped a bunch of pictures of this thing that he dubbed the Slender Man, and essentially it's just children playing in the foreground, and then in the background, kind of hard to see, misconstrued,
This one
is this
super
tall,
scary.
Look,
Look.
tall man who appears to be wearing a suit, with no hair and no
Why
face.
can't I see him?
And so, anyways, so this guy. And anyways, essentially, so it took off from this website contest, and it just became this whole phenomenon
Lots of
that
stories
stormed
and-
the internet. And there's a lot of awesome little short stories, and there's a whole mythos was built around the Slender Man. And anyways, it caused me a lot of sleepless nights just because I remember reading.
Oh, you're such a little. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's the pussy. Yeah, go back and watch all 5 episodes of Brad Plays, and you
6.
6
I was
episodes.
gonna say at least I can physically control my fear.
Yeah.
Anyways, Slender Man scared the shit out of me back in the day, and still kind of haunts my dreams a little bit to this day. If I'm ever in a forest alone, don't know why I'd ever be in this situation, but if I was ever to be in a forest alone, I would probably be very frightened because of the Slender Man. Anyways, that's what this new video game is about.
Let's fucking play right now, then.
I actually really badly wanted to. When I was in film school, I wrote a 10-page short film about Slender Man that was stolen when my computer was stolen. But I was really fascinated with the character and wanted to do a film on him. Maybe I will still. That would be fun.
I think it would be really terrifying if you did it right. The story of Slender Man, the internet's own monster.
All right, well, I'm going to play it. I'll play it right after this. And I'm not scared.
Yeah, you ain't afraid no ghosts? This from the guy who's wearing, I'd flex, but I like this shirt. Because he's really strong and tough or something. I don't think so. I think
Today's episode of the podcast brought to you by Shut the fuck up, Andrew. No one cares.
story of my life. Aside from Brad being a stupid asshole, what else is there to talk about?
That's everything on your list, is it?
Well, I mean, I didn't really get to talk about Silent Hills too much.
It counts the fucking game there. End of story.
That's it.
There was a game, and it's not happening anymore, and it was going to have Daryl from The Walking Dead in it. And they probably wasted a whole bunch of money.
That's the real story. Is they wasted a pile of money.
They flushed a lot of cash.
As Kevin from Dragon's Den would say, we have to have a moment of silence when Cash dies.
And it
I
died.
fucking hate Kevin from Dragon's Den. What a cunt.
We love you, Kevin.
No, he's an absolute. I hate him. He's so stupid.
Okay, now would you rather get a bad hand job from your grandmother or get a good hand job from your grandmother?
I'd rather shoot myself in the head.
Okay, let's get a real one going.
Okay, would you rather have pizza or a burrito? Fucking stupid. Would you rather smell like shit or smell shit for the rest of your life?
Smelling shit is a socially responsible thing to do.
Yeah,
Smelling shit is the socially responsible thing to do.
yeah.
But assuming that you smell like shit, wouldn't you smell shit also?
I don't think so. I think it's like you're the only person who can't smell that you smell
Yeah,
like
I
shit.
feel like that's the stipulation.
Yeah.
I think you would eventually get used to it, whereas you would keep reintroducing yourself to new people and you would smell like shit.
Yeah, you just wouldn't meet new people ever. Nobody would want to hang out with you or be your friend or be associated with you in any way. You have a very lonely life.
Would you rather have a penis-sized nipples or a nipple-sized penis?
Penis-sized nipples, I
Nipples, I
suppose. Cut those fuckers
I
off.
don't want a nipple dick.
Nipple dick would make things very difficult. Would you rather understand or not stupid?
Uh,
Have to carpool with No, this is all like these are all stupid.
Okay, you keep looking.
Would you
I'm
rather
gonna-
cry semen or ejaculate snot?
Wait, what?
Would you rather cry semen or ejaculate snot? Like mucus.
Ejaculate snot, I suppose. That fixes the whole contraception thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Or is it still semen that just has the consistency of snot?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it would.
Cry semen? Why is it? Why not?
I don't know. I didn't.
Why
write
not
the fucking
ejaculate
question.
tears? Oh, it's just urine, I
I was gonna
guess.
say, I don't know. I think crying semen would just be awful. So yeah, I would jizz.
Oh,
Would you rather
Just
catch my drift
snot.
or pick up what I'm putting down?
I'd rather catch your drift.
I would pick up what you're putting down.
Okay, this is our little hedgehog.
Maybe we should describe our little.
Oh yeah, me and Andrew were talking about doing
characters.
that.
Yeah.
Andrew 9. Anyway, so this is Hedgie, the hedgehog. And that's Dolly the doll, and that's Nomi the gnome.
No, that's
And-
Molly the dolly.
What?
Why is this stupid?
Is that? This is Hedge.
You are a stupid asshole.
This is Hedgehoggity the hedgehog, and that's
Barry the bear, and-
Dollity the doll, and that's Nominity the gnome. We don't have a name for the gnome. We don't have a name for the hedgehog.
What's that movie where Will Ferrell says that's the guy and he's like, I'm sorry, but you are a stupid asshole.
Other guys.
Well, other guys, yeah.
So Molly the dolly, a unnamed terrifying gnome, and a small hedgehog who tends to get himself in sexually frustrating situations, which he can't
He
get out
does.
because of his
He really
awful noise
does.
he makes.
The hedgehog, I mean, the gnome freaks me out because it's like, they put, not only does he not have pupils, and he looks like a stone guardian of like an ancient temple, but they put like fake moss on him, so he looks like ancient
Yeah,
and
ancient.
and like an ancient
He's
from
an
a time
axe.
from a time before man existed,
time.
and it was like it's like how they talk about Cthulhu and how it was like the ancient gods, that it's like before there was anything, there was these ancient gods. He is from this period of the ancient gods, like very H.P. Lovecraftian. I would say this
Yeah.
this gnome is.
What's his name? I think Kevin, but I don't know. Kevin the gnome?
I put Frederick forward.
Frederick?
How about we do this? This will be our first actual thing.
Yeah.
The first name suggestion to reach 20 comments. This might take 20
How
years.
many likes, you mean?
No. So, like, comment in the description of this video what you want the name to be. The first one to reach 20, it might take 15 years from now. So my vote is for Frederick.
I don't know.
You said
I was
just
gonna
said
say, you
Kevin.
said-
I guess Kevin, yeah. I'll
And
go
what
with
would you
Kevin.
like?
I don't know. I got to talk a little bit. I'll think about it.
Okay, so fans
Actually,
are going to vote.
I retract Kevin and say Gary. Gary
No,
the
you
gnome.
can't name it after my dad. That's fucking weird.
Oh, I wasn't thinking of your dad.
Well,
Okay, not Gary. Fair enough.
it's like, let's call them Fonnie and Judy and Jane.
No, I need something H.P. Lovecraftian. I want to call him Dagon,
Ooh, I like that.
Okay,
an ancient.
so there's Frederick, Kevin, or Dagon.
Dagon. I love Dagon. He's so evil.
Okay, so the first name to reach 20 comments. Like, write the name in the comments. This could be like, we're talking 2048 before that many people even watch this
Like,
motherfucker.
I could very well be dead. I probably will be dead by that time period. Like for years already.
So, retroactively, my family, my children, you'll have to go and name the gnome after we've long passed.
Yeah.
Tell your children about this tale.
Your children's children.
So one more time. 3 names.
Frederick,
Kevin and Dagon.
Dagon. How do we spell Dagon?
Dagon. Dagon.
Dagon, like dragon
Dagon.
without the R.
Yes, it's an ancient demon from some or other thing.
Dagon.
Yeah, the H.P. Lovecraft.
Mehrunes Dagon.
Actually, I think it might be my favorite
Mehrunes
H.P.
Dagon.
Lovecraft short film
Mehrunes
or
Dagon.
short story. Sorry, is called Dagon.
Mehrunes Dagon.
Mehrunes Dagon.
Would you rather eat only butter or only lettuce for the rest of your life?
Lettuce.
Yeah, lettuce.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really, you would just die of a heart attack after a week if you only ate
I just
butter.
don't really like butter by itself.
Yeah.
Whereas
No
I
one
like
likes
lettuce
butter.
by itself.
I don't know. Like,
I don't love lettuce by itself.
No, neither do I. I said I like it. It's like something I could eat. I'm fine. It's like if you told me to eat a stick of butter, I'd be like, I don't want to do that. Whereas like eat a head of lettuce, I'm like, okay, I guess.
that's true. One is actually like food. One is something that you put on food, I guess.
Okay, well, thanks a lot, guys, for tuning into this week's podcast. Again, the names:
whatever, you know.
Frederick Kevin Dagan.
Yeah. Yes, we will. We'll catch you guys next time. Have a
wonderful day. Thanks,
have an
guys.
excellent day. Goodbye.
Bye now. I love cocaine.